I left undergrad. I went right into grad school because who wanted to go into the work world? And I went to grad school to get a degree in writing poetry. For the money, obviously. And, you know, wanted to retire by 35 on that fat poetry money. Not quite happened yet. I forgot to bring copies of my book, so I'm not any closer after. So yeah, I loved the lifestyle. I was just writing constantly. I wrote, you know, for hours and hours every day, which could be hell for some people, but it was I just loved it. I was writing so much bad poetry, a couple of good poems, and then a lot of papers and a lot of correspondence with friends across the country. And I was writing comedy too. That was the thing I was doing, was a lot of comedy. Because as an undergraduate, I'd done stand-up, and I liked that. And when I got to Arizona, I didn't know anybody. So the second day on campus, I found the comedy troupe because I was looking for some people to hang with. And I found them. It was a troupe called the Farce Side, which is a little cheesy, but they've been in existence now for 30 years. And you know, it was really pretty incredible because we actually did a show every single week. So like Mondays we would read a pile of scripts and decide like we're going to do this, we're not going to do this. Tuesdays we would not have rehearsal, but you had to memorize your lines. Wednesdays we would go through the whole show and block it out, like when you come on and when you go off. Tech rehearsal Thursday night, add music, lighting cues, props. And then Friday, high noon. I mean, we read the script for the first time Monday. Friday at high noon, we would go on for a crowd. And it was like a small crowd at first because we were in this little theater, but they moved us to this massive student lounge. So we were getting like 200, 300 people every week to do this free hour-long comedy show. And it was impressive. You know, it's kind of like what all the troupe shows did in those days. Like we looked up to Kids in the Hall and Saturday Night Live, of course. And we were producing this show every single week. Now, I was a little bit of an outsider because I was new on campus. And a lot of the students were on the 6 or 7 year plan. You know, so they had already been writing for each other and performing together, and everyone knew what impressions, like who could do Cosby, who could do Shatner, you know. So they had, so they knew each other. And then also there was kind of there were like maybe a dozen people kind of in the core group. But there was maybe 40 people all told who would be in the show for the semester. And I was the only one who was a grad student. So I was definitely had this kind of separateness to me. But I had a hit, which was nice. I kind of got this sketch that worked really well, so it kind of helped me move in. It was a cereal commercial for Corn Choodles. So I was Daffy Dan, the Corn Choodles man. There's like a sugary breakfast cereal. And so there'd be two kids on stage and two actors as kids. I love Corn Choodles, they taste radical. They have that awesome sugary taste I've come to love and crave and am addicted to. And then I would run on stage, hey, and they're also fortified with potassium and ribonice and shit. So, yeah, it's Daffy Dan. And then so the wacky part was that every week there'd be something different in the box. Like in this specially marked box of Corn Choodles, you'll find your own leather-bound edition of a Shakespeare play. I got Romeo and Juliet. Hey, what light through yonder window? I got King Lear. Oh, that's a really sad one. That's really heavy. So it'd be like, it's kind of go weirder and weirder, and then there was contraceptive devices one time, and it was I had to put in bankruptcy papers in the cereal box because I had given away too much stuff. And then the next week it was firearms, and then I held up the children. It got kind of weird. It was kind of a hit because it was a quick sketch. Like there was a writer in the core group, this guy Scott Gray, who went on to win an Emmy for Rugrats. But he was writing these super long, yeah, right? I know that guy. So he would write these long scripts, like Rugrats length scripts. That would be like the whole show. And I would just do these it was a minute and a half for Corn Choodles. So in the audience, they saw the folding table coming out with the cereal bowls. They would start cheering already for Daffy Dan. So I kind of had a hit with that particular piece. And I think it was because of that Scott Gray, future Emmy Award winner Scott Gray, finally cast me in the leading role of one of his sketches. usually he was not using me in his troupe, but he cast me in, it was a commercial for Melancholy Cola. So the idea was I used to play that kind of character too, besides the wacky. I would sometimes do this kind of, your misery is my good time, that kind of character. So it kind of fit that I had this kind of goth teenager. So I'm on stage in a chair, lights up. When I'm sad and depressed, I like to pull the wings off butterflies and drink Melancholy Cola because it enhances the mood. So I mean, it was broad comedy. It was overplayed, but you know. So I go on. There's something about Leonard Cohen in there, which was current at the time. And then Linda, who was another comedian playing my mom, would come on stage, and she's like, "Oh dear, you're in one of your little funky, sad places. Here, I brought you this." And she hands me the gray can. We spray painted this can gray with an M on it. "Oh, Mom, you make my life so unbearable." And then I drink the can of soda. She kisses me on the head and goes off stage. And I deliver a couple more lines. I think there was something about teen suicide. Not always in the best of taste. And then there was a blackout and voiceover. And that was it. And it was a cute sketch. It was like, it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I was like in the top 50% sketches, just because of that. So, if you've ever seen comedy, you understand. We went through the sketch, we blocked it, I got my all black outfit, and tech rehearsal, and then the day of the show comes, and it always started with somebody in the troupe doing stand-up comedy. So that set was going on, and we're about 10 minutes into the show, and the director of the troupe, long-haired Pat, comes up to me and goes, "Daffy," he always called me Daffy, "Daffy, this prop broke, can you run upstairs and grab the duct tape?" And I'm like, "But I have Melancholy Cola, it's coming up." He's like, just do this, and you'll have time to do it. So I run upstairs, 3rd floor, grab the duct tape, run downstairs. I'm all in a sweat, it's Arizona. And I get down in time, lights go out, my sketch comes on, or Scott's sketch that I'm in, and I go out and sit on the stage, and the lights up, and it's like, "When I'm sad and depressed, I like to pour salt on snails and drink Melancholy Cola because it makes me feel worse." All right, so I go through, then my Linda comes on stage as my mom. "Oh, honey, you're feeling in one of your bad places. I brought you this." "Oh, Mom, I hate you so much." Gets me on the head and goes to leave the stage. And so she gets halfway off the stage and turns around and comes back over and kisses me on the head again. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that was just a random improv." So she's heading back off the stage, but she doesn't leave the stage. And she comes back again. And this time, she throws herself across my lap and gives me this super kiss, like a Bugs Bunny kissing Elmer Fudd kind of kiss, like just her lipstick and her saliva just all over my face. And so a lot's going through my mind at this point. One thing is, yeah, because I liked Linda. She actually played one of the kids in the Corn Choodles thing, and so I had kind of a crush on her. So it wasn't the best time for her to, express her affection for me, but I was very much enjoying the kiss. But at the same time, I was thinking, this is not in the spirit of the sketch. How is Scott going to feel? But at the same time, I was aware that the audience was going nuts, like they were laughing and cheering, and they loved it. So I was like, well, she's obviously in tune with the zeitgeist of this crowd. This is working, so I went with it. And so it lasted a good 15 seconds or so, which is a nice long kiss, right? So she gets up, and then she goes off stage, and I'm just sort of flabbergasted. I just like, and then I don't know what to do, so I just do a pratfall. Like when you're in doubt, just fall down. So I was in a chair, I just clattered in the stage. I was going to demonstrate, but maybe, I'm almost 50 now, so maybe I won't do that. It didn't hurt at the time. So I get back up, and I'm thinking, I guess I finished the sketch now. But I can't remember anything about the sketch. I can't remember my line. I barely know where I am. So my mind starts to erase, and I'm going through the sketch line by line, like in a split second. And I remember my line, and I'm about to say Melancholy Cola or whatever it was, and suddenly Brian, another comedian, jumps on stage beside me, and he's dressed as a caveman. He's not in this sketch, or there's no caveman in this sketch. But he's standing there in like this fright wig and a loincloth, holding a giant plastic femur, which we naturally had backstage. And he hits me on the head with it, and he goes, "Wooga, wooga, wooga, will you hold my bone?" So he hands me the bone, and then I hear, like, I don't know what's going on, and then behind me I hear, "Oh!" And I turn around, and like 4 or 5 cast members are standing there. They're all dressed as like cowboys or ranchers, and they go, "Oh, Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain," and they gesture towards me. So I go, "Where the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain," because what else are you supposed to do? So then Scott comes on, the guy who wrote the sketch comes on stage with another comedian. They're dressed as doctors with like these robes, and he puts a stethoscope to my chest, and he goes, "I believe the patient is in shock." And they're standing there, and now, like, there's maybe 2 or 3 more pieces of shenanigan that occur. And still, like, almost the entire cast is on the stage. And long-haired Pat, the director, comes on stage, and he goes, "Daffy, take us home." And I realize I'm being asked to find an ending. So being the improviser that I am, I just say the one thing that wraps it all up neatly: the ranchers, the doctor, the caveman, that crazy kiss, and Melancholy Cola. And I just go, So what had happened? I mean, they punked me. They totally punked me. When they sent me upstairs to get the duct tape, the director, Pat, went onto the stage and told all 300 people, like, "Here's the script for the sketch that Daffy is going to be in, and here's like the prank version that we're going to pull on him." So everybody knew that it was going to happen. And yeah, I've never felt so lost on stage. And I think some people would immediately go to that place of, "My revenge will be swift and terrible." But yeah, honestly, I loved it. I felt so seen by that troupe. Like they knew me enough to know that whatever happened would be funny for the audience, and I would enjoy it even as I was completely lost. They knew I'd be thrown off, but not like thrown away. And I think they recognized that I'd appreciate the humor not in hindsight, but even as it was unfolding around me. And so the chaos was so beautiful. And then it was even more of like this honor, because I realized they had to have these separate rehearsals without me. Like, we'd break up rehearsal, and they'd regather and do the prank version. And they had to keep it a secret from me. After that, I never again felt like I was in the B group. Like, I was like, I am in this troupe. And so I've stayed friends with a lot of those people for all this time because of that. So no need for revenge. I feel pretty satisfied. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Daniel, how are you, ladies and gentlemen?